Turning to employment figures, unemployment remains low in Singapore, with more people being hired and more jobs created in the third quarter of this year. Now let's look at some numbers from the Ministry of Manpower. Overall unemployment rate was 1.8% in September, down from 2.1% in June. For citizens, the rate was 2.8%, the lowest since March 2011. More jobs were created in the third quarter, with total employment rising by 33,100. That's a slight dip over the second quarter, but higher than the figure during the same period last year. And looking at the first 9 months of the year, the number of job openings rose to 61,900, an improvement over the same period last year. And to help us understand those figures, Mark Hall is here, the Vice President and Country Manager for Kelly Services in Singapore. Now, Mark, we heard there are more job openings. In which sector are we talking about here?
Well, there are a number of very strong sectors in Singapore, so it's our traditional sectors that include, manufacturing and maybe even the financial services. But I see that maybe the food and beverage industry has seen significant growth in openings as well.
Okay, what does it mean for Singaporeans, these job openings?
There's a number of great news for Singaporeans. First of all, there's lots of opportunities, for Singaporeans to re-enter the workforce, and we've seen that in rising older workforce entering the workforce, or even females returning to the workforce as well. But it's also as a result of government initiatives to actually encourage more people under the fair consideration framework to encourage more of Singaporean nationals into the workforce.
So is that why we're seeing unemployment rates for citizens falling to their lowest rates because of maybe the tightening of the labour laws?
Well, there's a number of factors. One is this is excellent news, and so it's an outcome of many initiatives that the government has put in place over the past 2 years. The re-education for the WDA with the work skills qualifications, or even the bigger focus of the last 2 years with PMETs and those categories of people entering the workforce. So it's very good news. So
is there good news for fresh graduates as well, perhaps, and in what sectors?
Definitely. I think many of the industries have now linked closely with many of the Singaporean institutions, and so that gives positive light for Singaporean graduates who are just entering the workforce to actually know that there is a job for them.
Well, that's excellent news. So what's the outlook for the future and 2014 particularly?
2014, we believe 2014 is going to be very strong. We actually see some movement from 2013 into 2014, so we're very positive outlook, especially as we enter quarter four. It's a high seasonal employment time, and then with the strong Singaporean economy and as a Asia hub, it should do well.
Okay, thanks very much for that. That was Mark Hall of Kelly Services on the latest figures from the Ministry of Manpower.